Hi, I'm really glad you're here so I can introduce you to Protege. We've given Lexis AI an upgrade and we're calling it Protege now. I'm Zoe Caldwell and I'm your legal research consultant at your law school. Little background information on AI and the legal market. Lexis conducted a survey about a year ago that included C-level executives and managing partners from AM Law 200 and other large firms and Fortune 1000 companies who are the clients of these law firms. 77% agreed that Gen AI adds new value and work for their clients, and nearly everyone surveyed said that they knew they were going to be increasing their budget for Gen AI tools and products in the next 5 years. Due to AI, firms are exploring new business opportunities and offer services to clients that weren't previously profitable. The survey revealed that clients want and expect their attorneys to use AI, and they also expect their legal bills will decrease over time because of it. Now, I know there's a lot of fear that surrounds Gen AI. We've already heard of several cases in the news where attorneys have cited hallucinated cases after they used ChatGPT. Please remember that Lexis only pulls from the Lexis database of resources, not the open web, and there are no fake cases on Lexis. Also know that the database Lexis AI pulls from is completely current, so whatever new and on Lexis right now is what Protege is pulling from. It's also important to remember that in California, there's a California rule of professional conduct that requires lawyers to oversee the work of non-lawyer employees, which is now interpreted to include the use of AI. So attorneys have a duty to check the work of AI and ensure all citations are cited and used correctly. Pitches when using other generic generative AI tools. Protege has been designed to work with the entire Lexis ecosystem of products. It'll be able to access material from more than just primary and secondary law. It will pull from past judgments and settlement databases and integrate with Microsoft Office products. Also, when a firm purchases Protege, they have the option to connect it to their internal server of documents. So Protege will then pull data not only from Lexis, but from the firm's database as well. These new updates in Lexis AI and in Protege have been designed to pick up on your personality and style. This is something other Gen I legal tools haven't been able to do yet. Now we can tailor content to include the user's personalized preferences and their past work product. Just one final screen on privacy and security before I go live in Protege and work on your assignment. Security is a law firm's biggest fear with AI technology. You can be sure that the entire Protege system is grounded in best of class safety and security measures. Specifically, Lexis AI is SOC 2 Type 2 compliant, if you're familiar with that type of security level, for all data saved on Lexis and in transmission to and from Lexis. In no way does user data tune or train our system. Protege has gone through independent third-party penetration testing to identify any security risks as well. All of these safeguards have been put in place so the product adheres to the rules of attorney-client privilege, which is really the most important piece of Lexis Protege. Let's go live and take a look. When I'm here in Lexis, and remember the website is www.lexisnexis.com/law school, and I click the link to go to Lexis Plus, I'm in the legal research area of the Lexis products. And to get to Protege, I just come on up on the experience dock and click Protege. Main screen of Protege, and predominantly most of the time you will spend in law school will be using the Ask a Legal Question button. Occasionally, you'll come over to Draft, which is for drafting legal documents. Please make sure if you're trying to understand the law about something or a legal argument made, you will use the Ask button. If you want to actually draft some sort of legal document, then you will use this button. So Lexis knows whether or not to be pulling from a template or from legal content. We're not going to talk about the Summarize button today. It's not something that law students need to use a lot. It really just summarizes cases so attorneys can quickly find out what a case is about on the fly. Law students need something summarized they're usually asking for something to be summarized in regards to a particular point of law. And so for that, we'd want to ask a question on that point of law under the Ask button. The Documents button is something I'll show right now at the beginning. This is where you can upload actual documents into Protege and ask legal questions about it. The documents you upload do not need to be of legal significance. They can be medical files, and you're asking legal questions about them once they're uploaded. In Protege, we now have a vault where you can actually save documents. Please know that we're just saving the image of a document and not the content of a document. And because of this, it's able to adhere to the principles of attorney-client privilege, and you'll be able to manage that vault here. Again, this is probably not something that law students will use a lot of, but definitely something attorneys will need because they'll need to access their documents again and again. Let's go to the Draft button and take a look at the problem you have for your assignment. So I put in this prompt: draft a client letter, no more than 1,000 words, informing our client of his rights of his stock when our client purchases stock before marriage at a price of $100,000 in the year 2020. He gets married in 2022 when the stock is at a low of $50,000 and starts divorce proceedings in 2024 when the stock is at an all-time high of $250,000. There was no money added to his stock during marriage. Lexis is going through our databases and detecting where it needs to pull this client letter information from and the legal materials that provided the content. Now you can see in Protege, we now have something called draft mode. This allows me to actually go in and edit my document right here on the screen. This wasn't something that was capable of Lexis AI just a few months ago, but now I can come in and make some edits and changes right here. So when I copy and paste it, it's got the additional things that I want added. So let's take a look at what we've got. We have the subject for the email, the name, a quick summary of the situation, and an understanding of what the law is. Next steps, and it's ready to be copied and pasted. Right-hand side of the screen, you'll see the legal content that supported this draft. And we can come on into any of this material here or view related material by opening up this link and view more. So I've got the different types of templates Lexis pulled from and the cases it used to contribute to the law that it's created here. Quick note, I did go into Google and put in a question on how many words a document that was 2 pages, single spaced, and 12-point font would be. So I used that information thinking Lexis would better understand how many words to put in the document rather than the advice that your assignment gave you, which seemed a little more confusing. So you always want to try to take the less confusing route when typing things into a prompt on Lexis. Okay, now I clicked New Conversation and we're right back to the beginning. I want to show you what I did the other day just so you can see my thought process. The first time I did this, I wasn't sure if Lexis would be able to draft a client letter with so much content involved without asking it to look into the law first. So just so you know, I originally said, explain the law for, and I put in the rest of the content that comes from your assignment. And then Lexis broke down the law for me in much the same manner it did in the drafted letter. It was nice to know that I did not need to take this step and I could directly put this into drafting the letter, and I put all the content there, and Lexis was able to do the same detailed work in the drafted letter that it did when I asked it to explain the law. After asking it to explain the law, I did have it then draft the letter the other day, and it did basically the same thing, which was nice to know. Then I followed up by asking Lexis your next question, which is drafting a list of 10 questions for our client to ask his spouse during deposition based on the law to help prove our client's rights to his property. Provide annotations to the cases and statutes that support these questions. It's important to know that when I type in prompts into Lexis, I'm trying to what I call Amelia Bedelia the prompt. If you remember that character from these children's books, she tends to make mistakes on very common instructions given to her. And so by thinking like Amelia Bedelia, I try to read back over my prompt and make sure nothing's confusing and it's extremely straightforward. And that usually gets back better information. So we're usually giving Lexis a basis of law, and we're giving Lexis a basis of who our client is in a very succinct manner. Lexis asked for a few more things, so it wasn't pulling from the content that it already provided, which I thought was a little bit of a bummer. So I copied and pasted again the content that Lexis gave me for the answer to explaining the law for a client's right to a stock portfolio. So it had that legal basis. Then it wanted the name of the deponent, so I just made something up and called her Mrs. Spouse, as in California spouse. And then we were able to get some really good questions back, and they were even segmented in different categories. So one was establishing the origin of the stock portfolio. There's 5 questions here for that. Determining the contributions during marriage, 5 questions for that. Understanding the appreciation of the stock portfolio, and 5 more questions. Addressing potential claims of community effort, so addressing possible backlash that we might get, and clarifying financial records and documentation. So I have a very thorough response here of questions I might want to look into in a deposition. And that ended your assignment. Let me know if you have questions. I'm always happy to discuss with you ways to better create prompts so you're getting the best information back. Please know that I'm just email away when you're working on Protege and you're trying to make sure that you get everything that you need based on the questions you have. Thank you so much for your time.